Dude, Luke, the printer's still busted, man. What the fuck?
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 97 of the Topless Robot podcast. My name is Ryan.
I'm not ready for the podcast to start.
Guess we're not starting yet.
Just kidding.
No, we started. It is started.
I'm Brooks.
We've already done what needs to be done. Continue.
Dan, I appreciate that you actually you were gonna wait for me there. Like, you're such a nice person.
Someone has to have your back every now and then.
Nah, I don't know about that.
Dan has your back so he can grab you easier and throw you into the dumpster.
Or the locker, depending on how much I'm listening to musicals on said day.
Absolutely. It's my way of ensuring that nobody else gets to you because that's my job.
So
I shall save you by killing you.
Speaking of killing, there have been a couple of celebrity deaths this past week. Regis!
What did you do, Ryan? Holy shit!
Regis is dead at 88.
Sad.
It's unfortunate. A staple of our media empires.
I looked up just to double check what his birth date was and everything, and the first thing listed on his movies, if you Google him, is Shrek the Third.
That's terrible.
Appropriately honoring the memory of one of the greatest TV personas.
Hey,
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Kathy Lee had anything to do with this.
Oh God.
She was always after that Regis Philbin senior workout video money.
No, seriously though, he had such unique mannerisms and became a real staple of, everyone can pull off some variation of a Regis impression. He's made his mark. Kind of in the same way,
if you're born in the Bronx, you got to have some attitude. So Regis had attitude.
Yeah. But in the same way that Christopher Walken, right? Everyone, Christopher Walken has such unique mannerisms. Everyone's got a Walken. Everyone has, I'm sure, has a Regis.
I don't know. I don't know if I could do a Regis impression very well.
So I'm surprised to hear you say this because I've heard zero people in my life try and impersonate Regis Philbin.
Really?
Literally zero. I've never heard anyone try and do it.
Yeah,
Who wants to
can't
be
really do a good
a
Regis.
millionaire?
I cannot. I'm not even gonna try. I'll just embarrass myself. Impressions are not my strong suit.
And then, unfortunately, we also lost John Saxon, who, you'd know him if you saw him. He was the father in Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's where I primarily know him from. But he's the second you see him, it's oh yeah, I've definitely seen that dude before.
Yeah, he was in Enter the Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
He survived he survived the movie.
And at least they both lived quite a while.
Yeah.
83.
Yeah.
83 for John Saxon, 88 for... Man, I did not know Regis was 88. I had no fucking clue.
Well, and it's been a while since Regis has really been in the public eye, hasn't it? Has he...
Well, you got to remember, Tyler, when we were kids, 20 years ago, he was already gray. So think about it.
That's true. Wait, time passes? What?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
No, you know what made me feel old was learning that Gwen Stefani is 50.
Whoa. Really?
Yep.
What?
That is
Yeah.
BANANAS.
Boo.
You're going to make me do it. Yeah, I was really surprised to learn Gwen Stefani is 50 years old.
Yeah, she's old, just like Patton Oswalt.
I guess it makes sense when you think about it. It's like a lot of these actors and musicians we loved as children or younger people. Now we're getting
right. She was
like
probably
I'm the only person who's never surprised by this. I'm like, yeah, she was famous when I was really young already, so like she's probably about
like
50.
And yeah, when I actually take a second to think about it, it's like, when No Doubt got popular, she was probably in her late teens or mid 20s. So yeah, it would make sense. But you don't, like, my brain doesn't want to think about the fact that No Doubt was popular 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
No doubt.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, your brain just wants to deny the truth, Ryan.
Well, it's like, it's like the music that you grow up with that you still would listen to today. I feel like you lose perspective on how old that music is if you're still actively listening to it.
I don't.
I
don't, because all music is
Let me
relatively
tell
new to
you
me,
something,
so-
young one. Once you get close to 40, that's when it all starts blurring together.
Oh,
I'm not worried about it because I'm already
turn your
mentally and
mic down.
emotionally like 60 years old. So
Turn your mic down, Ryan. I can hear your bones grinding from here.
No, I agree with you though, Ryan, because especially like honestly, a lot of the music I listen to, at least what got me into music, was stuff that was popular before I was born. So I never really think about a lot of the stuff like Rush. They were in their they started in the 70s, and it's like I don't really think about it until
do you like
you're
Rush?
just immediately thrown into it. You're just like, oh yeah, that's right. It's not like movie actors where you see them all the time and you see their growth in age. It's like musicians, you don't see them as often. So it's like
the music is just kind of there. The music sticks around, and especially with the frequency with which it gets passed down from parents to children.
No doubt.
You keep making that joke, and we keep ignoring it.
I mean, I won, so...
See, I successfully ignored it. You're weak.
It's more fun when Dan ignores it.
So Microsoft did a game showcase this week where they showed off a whole bunch of upcoming games. They had a bunch of world premieres. Some of them,
Minesweeper 2.
some of them looked pretty decent. They started off by showing Halo Infinite gameplay, which it didn't look anything particularly special.
The triumphant return of Master Chef.
Yeah.
you're not going to see me really excited about Halo unless you really love Halo. It's Halo at this point.
I'm not a huge Halo fan, but for it to be, kind of what's supposed to be representative of the next generation, the graphics were not all that wonderful looking, I guess. It's cool that it's going to be a more open Halo, and from the things that they showed off, like you're getting a grappling hook now, which is pretty cool.
Now he can grapple with his depression. I'll be here all night, though.
Can you not?
And there was one thing that I saw that looked really cool. A big bruiser enemy was running at him, and he shot him at the legs and caused the enemy to stumble. So that kind of stuff is pretty neat. Like those little details impact strategy. But aside from that, it didn't look super special. They showed off the upcoming DLC for The Outer Worlds.
Still haven't played that.
I played a little bit of it. I need to get back into it. But I mean, since I'm not it feels like in a Bethesda Fallout. I don't know if I can get past those mechanics in order to enjoy the game.
Fair.
What else?
Ooh, Fable.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Fable.
That was their bombshell reveal, and it's weird to get a Fable announcement without all of the empty promises of Molyneaux.
Yeah, I was literally going to say that. It's so strange.
It might actually be good because Lionhead isn't going to be making it.
But what's weird is
Hooray.
it's being made by a studio that has only made Forza titles.
Yeah.
Only Forza.
Well, we know the racing mechanics will be good.
Little did we know it's not an actual RPG. It's just a horse and buggy race simulator.
Yeah, right.
No. It's a card game with like with all these characters that everyone just loves, and just fucked up into like Mario shit, like super deformed versions, chibi.
And there'll be a dog, I'm sure, and that dog is going to be more real than any dog in any video game ever.
Whoa.
It's actually alive.
Actually, when you buy the game, they ship a dog to your house.
If you pay extra, the dog that you get in the game will look like it. But if you don't, then you just get some random dog in your house.
It's got an RFID chip in its collar, so if you don't feed it, the dog dies in game.
For the super deluxe,
modified to only be able to eat like certain products made by like Procter and Gamble or Reynolds or some shit.
And in true Fable fashion, they'll make the dog develop rabies at some point. You have to make a tough decision.
I use my blunderbuss to put it down.
So I was trying to remember the broken promises of Fable's past, and I looked up some of the Fable 2 presentations, and just seeing them show off the dog in Fable 2, and the number of times Molyneaux said, "We are making the best RPG ever made." Those were like actual words that he spoke. Like,
I mean, if you're gonna try to sell your product, I mean, I'd go as hard as I could too.
I get it, man. Shoot for the fucking
hard.
stars, but like, I don't know.
This game will be so good that all other forms of art will be meaningless to you.
Like the sheer level of hyperbole that Peter Molyneaux operates on is matched and surpassed only by Donald Trump. And like, you guys know how Bullfrog became a company, right? Like,
through shady American business deals.
Kinda. He pretended to be someone else in order to get a grant from a company or something in order to fund Bullfrog.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
That's sketch.
yeah. It's like he started lying and then just never stopped.
Kept digging his own fucking grave, baby.
I will say this. To be honest, I fucking loved Fable 2 and Fable 1. Obviously, they weren't the best games of all time, but I have great memories of Fable 1 and Fable 2. And Black and White 2 is also a lot of fun for me. I know all of these games were games that just were so blown out of proportion that there's no way that they weren't going to be disappointing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still loved those games.
Yeah.
See, I generally have the benefit of not really following the hype, so I later learned after I played all 3 Fable games that Peter Molyneaux is a piece of shit. But I didn't hear any of those lies before I played the games, so I was just able to take them at face value. And I liked all 3 of them. 3 was definitely the weakest, but they were fun. And then later, when I met people who were like, "Oh, you like the Fable games? How the fuck did you play 3?" And then I finally was given video footage of Peter Molyneaux shitting out of his own mouth, and I was like, oh dear.
Fable 3 was the only one that I fell prey to, where he was like, oh, you get to run your whole economy and all of your choices are going to change everything and blah, 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 blah. And then you literally do nothing in the end of the game. So that one was the only one that was super, like, I ate what Peter Molyneaux was shitting out of his mouth, and obviously was disappointed by it.
I have unfortunately been listening to what's been coming out of his mouth since Black and White. And that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy Black and White. That does mean I was disappointed that Black and White didn't deliver what he said that it was going to. And that also didn't stop me from buying into like literally everything that he was pushing. So bought in. Well, I guess I didn't buy into Fable all that much because I didn't have an Xbox. But like even as recently as Goddess, like I bought Goddess and it was not at all what he was promising. I knew that it was not going to be what he was promising. I still enjoyed my time with it. And then he like during early access completely did like a 180 on it and turned it into Goddess Wars for some fucking reason. And it was, I don't know where or what Molyneaux is doing these days, but all I have to say is thank you for Dungeon Keeper.
He has returned to his 100 years of sleep until the next century when he can bamboozle people.
Under the new name of Beber Bolyneaux.
But yeah, that was their big oh, and one more thing moment was Fable. And I guess a lot of people kind of expected it. Like there were rumors rumbling.
There was a Twitter handle that was reserved for it and everything. So people were like, ooh, Fable Twitter, what's going on?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what this other company does with it, what this Forza company does with it. I'm trying to think of what else they showed off. It was a bunch of stuff that I wasn't super interested in.
I believe, shit. I feel like some like mascot-y game was getting brought back again. I think I saw during that. I don't know if it's like Jack and Dexter or something like that, but one of those kind of games. I should have written it down. That's the real Fable.
Yeah,
I don't know.
A good idea.
So yeah, I mean, I'm still pretty excited for the next generation coming up. I think that it's really cool that they showed off all of these world premiere launch exclusive titles. I mean, obviously, Microsoft Studios is busy. Like all of the studios that Microsoft bought is paying off for them. And they're going to have a lot of titles for the Series X when it launches.
Oh yeah, Psychonauts 2.
That's right, Psychonauts 2. Super stoked for that. Of course, I've been waiting for that for years at this point.
I feel like that little VR game they put out was just like...
Oh, it was so good.
Just like teasing us.
That's pretty much the only one out of these that I'm like, yeah, that looks great. Oh, and then they've got Crossfire X.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that is, but I had to say it.
Crossfire. The way that they showed off Psychonauts 2 is pretty cool. They started off in a studio. Because the song was sung by Jack Black.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very entertaining. They went full on psychedelic Doors. Like, yeah. Fun stuff.
Jack Black is the best.
Hopefully it's as good as Psychonauts was back then. I tried to relive a little bit of that, and I forgot how old it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was my issue. I had it on Steam, and I'm just like, this feels like
Yeah,
an old game.
Yeah, it's kind of like
colored goggles.
there's like a weird point in games as far as like old games. Once like the early I want to say like PS1 and PS2 titles particularly that are just really rough to go back and play sometimes, especially those fucking platformers like that. Just
Yeah.
not good at all.
I generally feel that way about most of the games that came out on the PS1 and the N64. They have not aged well at all.
Yeah.
It's because they haven't really done. Like at the time, 3D gaming was so new that like camera physics and controls were just wonky. They feel wonky now, but back then that's all we really had, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But now
Even
everything's fine tuned.
even taking off the nostalgia goggles, there are still a couple of old PS1 games that I think hold up as far as control and physics go, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Ape Escape is still on point. I still play that.
Yes.
The first Metal Gear Solid, even.
Yeah.
But you know, some of those like even Spyro. I mean, the remasters or the remake is great.
And the Crash
but trying to
Bandicoot
play the
games.
original- yeah, those are good too.
And I'm probably alone in this one, but Jet Moto. I've always loved Jet Moto, and even recently
played it.
revisited it, and it's still really fun.
I haven't thought about Jet Moto in so long.
But I'm typically not nostalgic for like PS1 games in general. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think that
Mega Man X4, X5.
there are some that are worth
not
being
nostalgia.
nostalgic for. I would say Resident Evil is worth being nostalgic for. There were a lot of games that came out on that system that were defining of that era.
True.
That still hold
I
up.
never had a
The
PS1,
Final
so I
Fantasy
never
games,
really
man.
got
Final
those.
Fantasy VII is still one of the best games ever. The Alundra games, Xenogears. You know, there were a lot of games that came out on the PlayStation 1 that have aged well, that were defining of that era. There are a plethora of games that have not aged well and arguably didn't look good then, but we didn't have any options. So, you know,
It just goes back into what I've been saying all this time. Most games from any generation are shit.
yeah. I mean, pretty much it's because, you know, it's kind of like how Nintendo is notorious for allowing shovelware onto their systems. It's not just Nintendo. You know, there's lots of hastily developed games thrown out for systems and always has been.
Oh yeah, I remember like going to Fry's Electronics back in the day, and just you know, bins of like garbage games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Target
Yep.
has them too, just like all the crappy like there's this like bargain section in Target that I always remember seeing. It's like
Yeah.
$5 for this game that you've never heard of.
Interestingly, there was recently, I think this past week, a massive Nintendo source code leak. So, since we're talking about N64 era and stuff like that, the source code for Super Mario 64 has leaked. And people have found models for Luigi in the source code. And built that model out and everything to see how Luigi would have looked in Mario 64. The assets were there. They've found prototypes for Castlevania 4 and for Yoshi's Island. And all this, they've compiled these. Like the Yoshi's Island prototype is very clearly prototype, like it's using, you know, Super Mario World music, and not all the sound effects are there, and but it's showing off like proof of concept kind of things. And it's really interesting to see. And there are even sprites for like various alternative designs of Yoshi.
Really?
Where like Yoshi used to look like a raptor, like thin, you know, thin snout, and thin body looked like a raptor.
I need my thick Yoshi, okay?
And
to be 2 C's on that Yoshi.
to put the age-old question to rest once and for all, there is an animation loop with an old Yoshi prototype, Thin Yoshi, where it's very clear that Mario is winding up and smacking Yoshi square in the back of the head.
I didn't think that was even a fucking debate. He definitely is punching Yoshi in the face to make the goddamn tongue come out.
And supposedly on one of the sprite sheets, one of the unused sprites on the Luigi sprite sheet is apparently Luigi flicking the player off.
That was definitely put in there by an artist that was just
That's the classic thing. I think I've brought this up before. How all of the like the NPCs in the Crash Bandicoot names are like object.motherfucker are their names and shit like that.
But yeah, it's been incredible to see all of the things that have been coming out. There's like Star Fox 2 was one of the source codes that leaked. I'm trying to remember all of them. Mario 64, but there's just an absolutely insane amount of stuff that has leaked, and it's all really, really interesting.
That's cool. I saw a little bit of that, specifically the Luigi and Mario. But that just makes me want to go back and play Super Mario 64 by 4, the one that came out on the DS that has where you can be Wario, Yoshi, Luigi. That was a great remake.
I actually have that. I recently rebought that for DS.
That game is a blast. That was one of my favorite returns.
Yeah, I enjoyed it more than the original by like a pretty wide margin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, because I get to play as my boy Wario.
Mm-hmm.
I get to play as my boy. Waluigi will never be acknowledged.
Always the bridesmaid, never the groom.
I get to play as my boy Yachi.
Yeah. Ooh, speaking of gaming relics, X-Play is coming back, or I guess not X-Play, but
G4 is coming back. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We don't know how yet. It's going to be next year. And I don't know necessarily that X-Play is going to be a part of that. In their teaser, there are some things shown off from like Attack of the Show and X-Play, but they have told nothing at all. And Adam Sessler's already made it pretty clear that, historically, that he's fucking done.
But he was more pissed off at the old guard, right?
Right, but like this is still an NBC Universal property. And do you know how this happened? The CEO,
I have no idea. I've been trying to look this up.
The CEO of NBC Universal's son asked for it and is leading G4 now.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So nepotism.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Surprise, surprise.
So one thing that really worries me about this is NBC just launched their useless streaming service, Peacock, that no one has bought into.
I guess it's free. That's what I heard.
Well,
anyway.
It's free in the same way that Hulu was free when it first came out.
Freemium.
Yeah. And so I expect that in order to push their digital product, because of the clientele that G4 will carry, they're going to make it a Peacock exclusive thing.
Okay. That would make sense.
I would not be surprised to see the return of Kevin Pereira.
Yeah, Kevin Pereira. I was following everyone on Twitter when all of this started coming out, and Kevin Pereira actually said like something crazy is about to happen. You'll know what I mean when it drops.
Yeah.
So he knew about it before the trailer dropped, which definitely tells me that Kevin Pereira is probably back, which is great. I love Kevin Pereira.
Yeah,
he's fucking hilarious.
Kevin Pereira holds the same level of integrity in my mind as Jeff Keighley.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I wish Adam Pressler would come back.
Yeah.
I really do. He is still one of my favorite gaming journalists of all time. He is an intelligent and hilarious person.
Intelligent and snarky.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if they're going to be bringing it back in like a network capacity, right? Like a 24-hour channel, or if it's going to be like a streaming platform where they'll have a certain amount of shows that they're investing in building up that are going to have regular staggered release schedules that will be available through the streaming service in the same sort of way that we see through like Rooster Teeth, or we see through, any YouTube channel, right? I mean, Kevin Pereira even kept Attack of the Show going as The Attack on YouTube for a while. Mm-hmm. So probably bringing that over as a property, except it's going to be back to Attack of the Show. The only thing that upsets me is we're almost certainly not going to see the return of Unscrewed with Martin Sargent.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the ones that we're going to... I have a feeling X-Play will wind up being one of the things that comes back, even if they don't bring back Adam Sessler.
Also, can we please give Tommy Tallarico his own show again?
Who?
Tommy Tallarico?
He sounds familiar.
Yeah. He had the game composer.
Oh, Tommy Tallarico.
Yeah. Tallarico, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Tallarico. I've known that guy's name for a long time.
Yeah, I'm like, who the heck is...
He's like up there with like Yuzo Koshiro with me and video game music, man.
He had a game review show on G4.
Was that... Which one was it? I forget.
I can't remember what it was called at all.
Was it Electric Playground, maybe?
Maybe...
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think
I know that it was a G4 one. I did not live in a G4 market when G4 and Tech TV were two separate entities. So I had Tech TV. And then when G4 and Tech TV merged, that's when I started getting G4 content. And that show did not live long after that merge.
Yeah. Pretty much the only things at the end that were going were just X-Play, Tech of the Show.
Screensavers,
and I mean that was really it. Then it was 18 hours of fucking cops and another 4 hours of
well, there's something that they're not going to be able to do now.
Nope. Good riddance.
It'll go into syndication.
I wonder how, like, if they're going to get stuff like Screensavers back.
I don't know.
Or was it Screensavers, or was it? Yeah, it was Screensavers, which is now Twit, This Week in Tech. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was so good. The graying dude, and then the other one was like Patrick something or other. It's been so long since I watched any of these, and they were all like, it was all decent content. Like back before the internet was the wealth of media that it has become now, where media is the standard.
Leo Laporte, that's right. Laporte, okay. I remember this show. It really just has been forever. This really is coming out of gaming's past.
Yeah. And that's going to be another interesting thing, is in the media landscape the way it is now, is G4 relevant? Is there room for G4 anymore? Like, there are plenty of people who started up YouTube channels inspired by the content that G4 was making, who are doing a better job than G4 did in the first place.
If they get the right kind of creative team on board, I think there's enough room. You can do some. You just have to have the right kind of shows.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of future collaboration with a lot of these people on YouTube that were doing stuff inspired by them, I
hope so.
Lindsay Ellis got a PBS show.
Yeah. They, even when G4 was active, they were always good at raising voices of independent online creators. Mm-hmm. So,
which, if they do it right, this could work. I mean, it's got the name recognition, and if they get the right kind of people on board, the right kind of online personalities and some legitimate game journalists that have been in the industry and whatnot, it could be freaking cool. I'm personally excited just to see Kevin Pereira again.
Yeah, right.
So I'd be okay with it. I'm okay with it. Bring back Morgan Webb too.
See him have a drum off with the drummer from Coheed and Cambria again.
Yes.
Quite.
What else? Tenet, the upcoming Christopher Nolan film, which they refuse to take digital distribution at all because it's typical summer blockbuster, has now been delayed indefinitely.
Cool.
I think we're going to see a lot of that with movies, to be honest. I mean, the digital, I like the digital releases, but I think a lot of the art house kind of directors like Christopher Nolan and whatnot are not gonna want to release their movies on digital first. They're gonna want the cinema treatment, and that's just not gonna happen for a while.
I just want everyone to know that I didn't shoot this film for the small screen.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's I only recently realized how many movies were supposed to already be out. So if I remember correctly,
Media wasteland.
like that Ryan Reynolds film Free Guy, wasn't that supposed to already be out? Wonder Woman 84 was supposed to already be out. There's a lot of movies that, like, I feel like maybe I'm just not paying attention. I don't remember hearing that they were delayed. I figured sure, but I never remembered when they were going to be coming out in the first place. And so now it's like, oh yeah, those were all May dates for these movies, and these were all June dates for these movies, and shit like that.
Yeah, I guess we're just all just gonna have to wait.
Pretty much.
It's like if you guys are good and stay inside for a while, we'll release these films. They're holding them hostage.
There's the kicker. Tenet is delayed indefinitely in the United States. Tenet will be screened in Asia at the end of August. Yes.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I don't have to wait for any of these movies because I'm not going to watch them anyway.
Like, I like Christopher Nolan movies, and Tenet looked interesting enough. So it's something that I was looking forward to. We live.
Americans can't fucking stay inside and wear masks, apparently.
We live in America.
This is America.
Yeah, land of the free and maskless.
Speaking of that stuff. So I know I've been on Facebook and Twitter being really excited that baseball and basketball are back. And it's been exciting. Like, let me start this off by saying I spent like all weekend watching baseball and basketball because it's the first time that I've gotten something that, like, outside of like watching movies and video games and whatever, that's showing me that time is actually passing outside of my fucking house. So it's been a nice return to normalcy. But the funniest fucking thing. So baseball started. We're officially in baseball season. There is a Canadian baseball team, the Toronto Blue Jays. Mm-hmm. They are not allowed to play baseball at their home park because the Canadian government said, no, we're not going to let American baseball teams come over and spread coronavirus.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right.
They announced this news like less than a week before the season started. So up until literally yesterday, they had no idea where they were going to be playing home games because they just expected that the Canadian government would be like, oh, we need the money. No. Canadians fucking smart and are like, no, we're just going to buckle down for now. You go be stupid, America. We're going to
Yep.
do us.
It's great. I love that because most Americans refuse to put themselves in quarantine, the world just put us in quarantine.
Yep. Yep.
Like, you're not going to do it for yourself? All right, fuck you. See you later.
Yep.
The number of...
You're literally... Where for so much of my life, I'd always thought, like, maybe, the world's opinion of us has to be exaggerated, right? We can't be that dumb. Like, they're just...
Oh, yeah.
No, like, Americans on the whole are that dumb. It's great.
Yeah. And the number of countries that we are not allowed to travel to right now is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like-
it's a majority of the planet. Yes.
Except for Brazil.
Go figure. And Bolsonaro has yet to
that
test
place-
negative for
I really want to
coronavirus.
go to the pillar of stability that is Brazil.
Christ.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, we are in a nightmare world. It's
But
fucking ridiculous.
on the other side of things with sports, I know I'm talking about sports and not many of you care. Basketball is starting this week as well. And they are doing kind of a cool thing. Like, they're not doing a full travel schedule. Like, they have they call it the bubble in Orlando. Yep. And it's completely shut down. If you leave the bubble, then you are not allowed to come back for 2 weeks. You have to quarantine. So if a player decides he wants to go out and party and whatever, then he's literally going to miss the entirety of the playoffs because 2 weeks.
And that bubble is a Disney resort.
Yep, the Bubble's Disney Resort. They built these amazing looking arenas, or not arenas, arena, I guess. And now it's arenas with really nice looking courts. And like, it looks cool. It's weird because there's not any fans and they've got it all socially distanced. Like, you normally have like the bench where all the players are huddled up right on top of each other. And now they have it. So there's like separate seats. And they're like 6 feet across from each other, so it's like, and they're like really far away from the court, and it's weird. It's super weird, and you like watch it, and there's no sound. It's almost like watching people just play at your local gym, but with a lot nicer.
They're getting paid a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That is to say,
I don't mind any of that because the only sport that I think the fans are necessary for is wrestling. Otherwise, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And yet, it's wrestling still going, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is wrestling still going?
Sumo is.
They've done some they've done some wrestling matches without fans. It's weird. Because they still the wrestlers still run around peacocking for the fans that aren't there. Like
that's like having. I mean, that's like having stage theater. That's like Broadway without an audience.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
All you hear is like the slapping of flesh against flesh, and like some weird like lines of dialogue that are only cool in the context of an audience.
Like, how many wrestlers climb up the turnbuckle and go, put their fucking hand to their ear, and it's just dead silence?
It's just someone like on the sideline, just like. Yeah.
The one long wolf whistle.
It's just JR just yells out, yeah!
Sorry, go
One
ahead.
sport that has almost been like improved by having no fans is MMA. Because you get to hear all the shit that like their teams on the side shout at them while they're fighting. And it's some weird shit sometimes.
Baseball. Speaking of like, the baseball's been pumping in crowd noise to make it sound less quiet, and the crowd noise is literally from MLB The Show.
Oh my god!
The video game. Literally, this crowd noise from MLB The Show.
That's funny.
Video games are now being used for the equivalent of canned laughter.
Yes. Kind of better than not.
It is kind of rad though. So like sumo started back up again, and we're in the middle of a tournament right now. But the audience is all socially distant, and they're like asked not to cheer, but instead to clap. And so it's just this like super empty. I mean, it wasn't as surreal as like back in, I think, March or April when they were doing it without anyone there. Like that was entirely surreal. This is like slightly less, but it makes it look like something terrible has happened because it's just, you know, not that many people in there and everyone's being really quiet and it's almost worse.
Because there's a lot of theme parks opening up in China and Japan now, and didn't they like put a ban on screaming when you're on roller coasters? Yep. And they literally said like keep the scream inside yourself or something.
Yeah. I gotta
scream with your heart. Scream with your heart. That's what it was.
Was it you, brother?
Yeah.
Scream with your heart.
The world is so weird.
It's please scream inside your heart.
That's what it is.
Just a bunch of people on roller coasters just
not even moving. They're just like
completely still, stone-faced.
Father, I am having a good time.
This is the pinnacle of human entertainment.
I mean, that's me on rides in general, usually just kind of like...
This was nice.
Such exhilaration, Father.
I do not recall a time where I was capable of feeling real joy.
F.
Initiate fun. Execute.
So you guys, I'm sure, have heard about the U.S. Army's Twitch channel.
Yeah.
The
Have you
ridiculous.
seen all the speed runs that people have been doing to see how fast they can get banned from it?
Yeah.
My favorite one is somebody gets on and they post a Wikipedia link to U.S. war crimes and boom, gone immediately. Just fucking banned.
Yep. So that's been the thing is people have been going into the U.S. Army Twitch channel and bringing up American war crimes and some try and do it in subversive ways and some try and speedrun it. And it turns out that the U.S. Army might be breaking the law and violating free speech by blocking those people on Twitch.
They are.
In the same way that when Trump blocks someone on Twitter, he's breaking the law. So they have stopped streaming.
It wasn't even that long.
They didn't get rid of the channel. They've stopped streaming, but you can still visit the channel, which means they're probably looking for a way to bring it back.
Yeah, almost certainly. But yeah,
because they're using it as a recruitment tool, which I think is the most heinous part of it.
Well, it's the same shit as like Army recruiters going to high schools. It's the exact same level of garbage.
Almost exclusively to low-income high schools, wouldn't you know it?
Yeah.
What?
If you want to pay for your college for free, with no issues at all, we'll give you a salary after you're done, and you only have to go over for just a little bit.
Yeah.
If you serve in the military, you can become a citizen and vote.
Oh, my heart.
I do love Starship Troopers.
Yeah. I'm doing my part.
I think about that every time I put my mask on when I go into work.
I'm doing my part. just turn and look at a camera that's not there.
You don't think I'm going to do that shit already?
I imagine that Brooks already goes through his day-to-day life as though he's on a single camera sitcom.
It's already, people are saying,
who said that?
Just random strangers like, what is this guy looking at?
His
He's
life,
like freeze framing.
his life is just like that Will Ferrell movie, Stranger Than Fiction.
I mean, I do love that
Great movie.
It is a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I've seen it.
We believe you, Dan. You would never lie to us about movies.
No, you would love it. You would love it. One character is constantly trying to find ways to die.
Yeah.
Fine, a character in a movie I can relate to.
So I'm sure we're all Jet Set Radio fans here, yes?
Yes.
There is a new game coming out that is a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio called Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. Ooh. And it even has the music director from Jet Set Radio attached to it. And it's on Steam. You can wishlist it. Yeah, of course, Tyler.
Didn't mean to have it that loud. I wanted to see it. Okay, jeez.
But it looks awesome. It's the same sort of feel, graffiti, wishlisted on Steam. I don't think we have a release date available for it yet, but it looks great. If you're like me and you've been waiting for something new to scratch that Jet Set Radio itch for like a fucking decade, then this might be it.
That looks really fucking cool. It looks like what I'd want out of a spiritual successor.
With the track record of people making spiritual successors, it might be better than its like inspirational material.
Yeah, we'll right. I hope so. And
just like Mighty Number 9.
Oh. How dare you speak that name?
I thought that was a great game.
We should do a Mega Dan Brooks where you and Tyler play Mighty Number 9 as like a generic knockoff of the show.
And it'll just be called like Mega Ryan Tyler. Like that's it. It's not even going to try. It's just going to be like Mega Ryan Tyler.
Our name is as good as this game.
That would be fantastic. We should do that with other
No. It's gotta be Tyler Number Ryan.
Oh man.
I will never personally request that anyone play that game because I don't want them to.
It's garbage.
It's not good.
If you guys choose to do that, then you could. But I'm not going to formally request that you do it.
It's not good.
We should
consider it.
We should do that, but it's not good.
We need to do that and make fun of it because I actually love this idea. We should make this happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if you did anything but make fun of it, I would be surprised. That game is a broken promise in every way possible and deserves to be dunked in the verbal trash can.
Yeah.
Blam Duncan.
But it's back to Jet Set Radio for a second. There's also a fan-made multiplayer Jet Set Radio game that's out. That's like kind of, I guess, like alpha or beta. Like it's a meticulous recrafting of Jet Set Radio. Because it's not like they have the game files and they're, just adding some net play to it. Yeah, no, this is like the dude's rebuilding it from the ground up and incorporating multiplayer in it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think he's very far along, but from what I've seen, it looks promising and it looks neat. Considering no one has shown any interest in fucking making another Jet Set Radio game in any official capacity, I'm sure that they're safe
Regis
for
Philbin
now.
Did and they killed him for it.
The true harrowing story behind the death of Regis Philbin.
So yeah, it's worth checking out, but it's definitely not like a fully realized game just yet.
That's cool. Is that Bomb Rush Cyberfunk? Is it by the same studio?
No, no.
Okay.
As far as I understand, they do have the composer from the original game, but that's it. That's the only
something or another.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
Well, still looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. I have loved every iteration of Jet Set Radio, including the Game Boy Advance isometric view version of that game.
I did not know that they made a Game Boy Advance version.
Surprisingly good. Surprisingly good.
Jet Set Radio. I'm sorry, Jet Grind Radio.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is
always slapped.
Yes. It is a killer soundtrack. Biss, who I've written. I've written an article about for toplessrobot.com before about the band Biss, who did the Powerpuff Girls soundtrack. They're a Scottish Riot Girl band. They have a song on the Jet Set Radio soundtrack called Statement of Intent. And then, of course, I'm sure everyone remembers Fly Like a Butterfly.
and that game helped me understand the concept of love. So
yeah, killer soundtrack.
Let mom sleep.
So this past week we also saw Comic-Con at Home.
Oh, I totally forgot that was this week. I didn't even.
So there was a Bill and Ted Face the Music panel, which I haven't watched, but they also released a longer trailer, and it looks good. They announced Adventure Time Distant Lands Obsidian, which is Marceline and Bubblegum's story. So that'll be pretty cool. But for the most part, I feel like Comic-Con at Home has been kind of scattered, and there's been a few nuggets of news coming from here and there, but not like your typical Comic-Con.
Well, it's because nobody can dress up in costumes, so they don't care anymore. We're not actually here for the panels. I want to see the cool costumes.
It's true.
There are a bunch of collectible, as with every year, there were a bunch of collectible.
Man, I've seen some cool shit.
Figures and things like that, which were Comic-Con exclusives, which are now being shipped directly to retailers for pre-orders and things like that. Our local collectors marketplace got a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Comic-Con 2020 exclusive thing, but they did not get all the ones that they ordered. Like, I guess the shipment just got totally fucked, and so they pretty much instantly sold out of what they had, which really sucks. But
I had a really hard time tracking down a copy of Ghost of Tsushima for similar reasons with shipping.
Oh yeah,
I was talking to the guy at the store because I wanted a physical copy just because I heard it's a big game or whatever. And the guy I talked to was like, "Yeah, we got like just enough for our pre-orders and maybe like less than 10 copies." Elsewhere, so apparently no one's really shipping a lot of games anymore in general.
They're getting ready for that no disc drive version of PS5.
Yeah. The one of the Comic-Con exclusives this year, which goes on sale in the next couple of days at Target, is all of the Turtles, the Coming Out of Their Shells tour from NECA. So they're all dressed up like rock stars and shit. And I especially need this set because 2 of those turtles are members of the state. They are Michael Ian Black and Ben Garant from MTV's The State. They dropped out of college to be Ninja Turtles on tour.
That sounds like a wise career choice.
Yeah, right.
Man, I feel like I've been watching news stuff, but like they became
successful, and there was just this wild rise to stardom where he's trapped in the turtle suit, so nobody knows who he is outside of it.
Yeah, the zipper's stuck. I don't know, man. Just go through his entire life as Raphael.
By the way, Brooks, this is going to be a little bit of a callback to of the very beginning of that conversation. But how is Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah.
Dope. It's awesome. It handles well. I mean, it's probably the most gorgeous game I think I've played, and it's pretty balanced as far as the combat goes. So
it looks really cool.
Yeah, and I was worried, and I talked to Zeke about this because both of us were like, if this game has like magic or anything like that in it, it's going to make it less cool. And there's no magic of any kind. It's all just like hacking and slashing and parrying and rolling around and equipping dope clothes. So
I would have been surprised if that had any magic in it. It seemed like it was very grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so far it is. The only mystical elements are like there's a couple of side quests involving like mythic armor and stuff like that. But it's like within about what I'd expect, I'm not like shooting fireballs, out of my eyes or some shit like that.
Cyclops and Ghost of Tsushima.
There has been some movie callbacks that I've seen so far, as far as
like
there's
to Yojimbo and Hidden Fortress and that kind of shit.
Yeah, like there's a side quest for like a combo you can learn that is Toshiro Mifune's like signature like one movement strike thing that he does in every movie. The Yojimbo slice.
Yeah.
And I think I'm like 10% done with the game too, so I can't wait to see what other weird shit they're gonna throw in there.
Nice.
I just can't believe how good that game looks. On like,
man, the load times are ridiculous.
Are they?
It's like, yeah, it's so short. It's like, fuck, dude. I just wanted to like, take a drink.
Well, we're now getting into end of life era for PS4. Like, I mean, granted, technically speaking, as far as support is concerned, PS4 still has like 2 years.
Yeah,
probably.
But you always see the most creative and most efficient use of the resources of a system in the last years of that system's life. So this is probably ushering in that age, like Shadow of the Colossus was end of life for PS2. We always see the most impressive stuff coming out at end of life. So it'll be interesting to see what comes next on PS4 for Ghost of Tsushima, or what gets dual support, I guess, what with the PS5 coming out in November.
It's kind of cool that we've seen a lot of games where it's like if you buy it for the PS4, you get the free copy for PS5.
Yeah, and that's them keeping up with Microsoft's smart delivery option. Microsoft on the Xbox, with most of their games, they're doing smart delivery. So when you buy a game, you can basically get whatever the best version available of that game. So if you're playing it on Series X, you get the Series X version of that game. If you're playing it on Xbox One, you get the Xbox One version of that game. But you buy it once, and basically it delivers to you whatever version of that game that's going to look best on whatever you're playing it on.
That's really cool, because I feel like that probably won't be one thing that like stops some people who might be early adopters from buying a console. Like they buy these new games that were really awesome for the PS4 or Xbox One, whatever, and then literally a couple months later, the new console comes out, and it's like either it's hurting that game's sales early on, or it's hurting their desire to get that console day one or week one or whatever, because it's like, I already bought these games. I want to play through them first before I move on to the next console. So the fact that they're doing this is pretty cool. I like that.
I feel
like it's a brand new thing.
It also helps stupid people too.
Thanks.
I think the biggest thing that they have going to fight against, the reluctance of some early adopters is Game Pass. 22 games available for a $5 a month subscription at launch.
That is pretty cool.
Like, that's insane to buy a new system and spend $5, or let's be real, it's probably going to come with a 1 month trial. But to buy a brand new system and have 22, a large amount of which are AAA titles, available for you to play immediately.
That's crazy. I wonder if we'll see more games start to boost their, go up to the $70 ratio because of how cheap these kind of services are. Because we saw, I think it was NBA 2K that's going to be $70 on the new console.
Yeah.
Which is stupid because they already.
I can't wait.
2K doesn't do shit with that series.
And I've seen a lot of opinion pieces that are saying brace yourself for the $70 price point.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
In the
I never
future,
buy games when they're new anyway.
$100.
But weren't games like in the N64 era like $65, $75 or $70?
I think some of them in the NES era got up to 70 or 80 too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been in a lull. And fortunately, there are very few AAA titles that I want to play. I'm usually all over these indies. So,
Lol.
like Panzer Paladin.
Yeah, so what exactly? I did not look into it because I think when we were talking about it earlier this week, I didn't have time to sit down and look. What is it?
Panzer Paladin is like if you took Mega Man and crossed it with Shovel Knight and crossed that with Blaster Master Zero.
Okay.
So you basically these spirit weapons have started falling to Earth, and they have risen a bunch of monsters. And so you go out in your giant mech. You're a support android, and you go out in your giant mech, and you start with no weapons. You pick up weapons. Weapons lose durability very quickly, and you can actually burn a weapon and get its special effect. So right before it's about to break, you burn that weapon and you get defense up or a heal or something like that. You'll have a bunch of weapons. It's kind of like Nero's arms in Devil May Cry 5, where it's you can choose to burn it and do something special, or you can keep at it, except I know Nero didn't have durability on those, right? Those didn't naturally wear down.
They break if you're hit while you're using them.
Okay. So this just has a basic durability kind of thing. And all of the bosses are in different regions of the world that are mythical creatures relevant to the areas of the world that you fight them in. And there are sections of some of the levels where you can actually hop out of the mech and traverse, and you've got a little grappling hook, and you can ninja rope and shit in order to get into these places and whatnot. And then between levels, you can actually trade in you basically burn your unused weapons as upgrade points in order to upgrade stats on your mech. Great graphics, super Shovel Knighty, killer soundtrack, and the level select screen is like Mega Man meets fucking Street Fighter, where you've got the map of the U.S. and you are basically choosing which mythical creature you're going to battle, and then you go through the full stage, fight the mythical creature, and yeah, it's fucking rad.
That sounds legit.
Yeah.
I have too many games to play.
It came out. It's from the same developer as Flint Hook, which is another really fun game. So,
Is it a sequel to Flint, Michigan?
Flint, Michigan's probably going to need a sequel sometime soon.
So, we have gotten to the end of the episode. There's still some things I know that we wanted to talk about, but let's just wrap it with some what games have we all been playing? I know we kind of touched on that a little bit, but since it's proven too much of a struggle for us to come up with a highlight every week.
I actually have a highlight this week. I was like, I have a highlight.
Fine.
God damn it.
Fine.
Well,
Choose a highlight or tell us about the games that you've been playing. Tyler.
Well, so in terms of games, the reason I want to say highlight is because I've just been playing No Man's Sky, really.
So
I'm, like, super into it.
why are you complaining then? If like,
But no, I mean, I love it, and that's all I need to say. In terms of things that I did, the highlight of this week, I already said it though, but sports are back, and it makes me kind of happy. Friday night, I ordered some wings. I got a really tasty Bock from a Doppelbock from a little local brewery called Desert Monks Brewing, and I just sat down and I watched baseball and ate wings and drank beer like a true American.
and didn't wear no fucking mask while doing it.
Exactly, because that's what a true American would do: is wear a mask.
It's real American, all right? If you're going to talk about the Hulk Hogan's theme song, you better get it right.
I am a real American.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, baseball bag, basketball bag, drinking beer, eating wings. It was like the first kind of like thing I had to look forward to that wasn't just a movie I haven't seen before in a long time.
It's a game you hadn't seen before.
And games too. There have been some really good games that I've been liking, but it was like one of those things that it didn't get pushed back anymore. It was just like some good news, and it really made me feel like there was a passage of time. So it just like a semblance of normalcy to this stupid, ridiculous life right now.
Time has occurred.
Time occurred for the first time in quite a while. So yeah, that was my highlight. Legitimately happy and not super stressed for the first time in a couple months.
How about you, Dan?
I don't know. I had one highlight that was pretty good. It was a game of Space Station where for the first time I ever got fired from being the coroner. Because, well, look, nobody takes their job as the coroner seriously because every corpse that gets brought into the morgue, like, if there's a detective on shift, they never do their job. They don't care about investigating actual murders because it's usually the security force who's murdering everybody, so they can't do anything about it. So why should I perform any autopsies? Generally, what I do at the start of my shift is I walk out of the morgue, grab a couple bottles of whiskeys from the bar, and I get drunk in the morgue, and when people bring corpses in, if they're not clonable, I just throw them at the wall or at each other until someone comes in to see what I'm doing. And it got really bad because when the bodies are being thrown at each other, they actually bounce off of each other and like they make sound effects that you can hear through the walls. So every time someone would walk by the morgue, they're like, I think someone's in a fight in the morgue. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. Like, I think we need to investigate. And There's a specific CMO, the chief medical officer, who usually plays at the same time of night as me, and I loathe them. They're awful. They are a narc. That's all they are. They care about no fun, follow the rules. So I'm drunk as fuck in the morgue. And when you're drunk enough in that game, when you hit directional buttons to move, it'll move you in a random direction. So you can't even control where you're going. And I hear over the medical channel that the CMO's coming to see what's going on in the morgues. I'm like, fuck, I have to put these bodies away or I'm going to get in trouble. But I'm too drunk. So I'm stumbling around the morgue barfing while I'm trying to stuff bodies into lockers. And the CMO walks into the office as I'm stumbling around puking, and I just go, shit. I got fired immediately because the morgue was covered in puke and there were like 6 bodies that I was throwing around.
That's hilarious.
It was a good time. I laughed really fucking hard.
That's pretty good.
Hell yeah.
That's hilarious.
How about you, Brooks?
I started an old favorite of mine. This week I started reading The Count of Monte Cristo again.
Yeah.
And, that book fucking rules. If it was a song, it would slap.
It is a great book and a great movie.
I would recommend the anime as well. Gankatsuo is very, very good.
I did not know there was an anime.
I like the part in the book where he invents that sandwich.
Right?
The Monte Cristo sandwich.
Yeah. Delicious.
Definitely happened. Prove me wrong. Read the book.
I went to Disneyland once and I got a Monte Cristo sandwich and I couldn't eat all of it because it was really, those things are like, I mean, it's a deep fried sandwich with jam, like dusted with powdered sugar. Like this stuff is like built to murder you.
Dusted with shame.
It's delicious, and I only was able to eat half of it. So, but I didn't want to get rid of it because we had a whole another half of a day of going to Disneyland, and I didn't want to get rid of it. So I brought it with me, and then I don't know what gave me the idea, but I decided to start making a Facebook album and taking pictures of me like doing stupid shit with my Monte Cristo sandwich. So there's a Facebook album somewhere on Facebook that's My Day with Monty. I also named him Monty. And it's just like a whole bunch of stupid stuff with me like spinning around in circles with my Monte Cristo sandwich and like holding it like on a ride.
This is why I shove you in lockers.
Reason fucking 5,000.
It was great.
Me and my sandwich are going to go out for a walk, and my mom says that I have to be back before the streetlights are on. Otherwise, the child guys will get me in their van.
Hey, don't say bad things about the child guys in the van. They've got good candy.
End the episode?
Thank you, everyone, for watching and or listening. We'll see you next week.
Here we are at the end of our Topless Robot podcast again, and we're here to do the Topless Robot podcast unboxing special we have at the end of each episode. And today, I have an interesting item. It is imported from, I think he said it was Tibet, maybe, or it might be Nepalese, but let's take a look and see what's inside. I've already kind of opened the box a little bit just to make this a little easier and a little more fun. And fucking subscribe, asshole!